I would like to start off by giving all honor and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'asam Yahushai, Ba'asam Kakudas. I also want to give double honors to our apostles of great millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. All right, today I want to go into a live stream. It is around evening time, April 27th, 2021. And today I want to go into a topic basically entitled, Esau is in the way of our value. All right, because you have a very trending topic, a reoccurring trending topic, and it goes into, the manosphere and alpha male and high value males, and whether it's status or your mindset, and one of the, excuse me, it's a lot. One of the reoccurring topics and one of the reoccurring statements that you hear from our women, all right, is that, they basically don't need us, or, there's no need for us, or they can't find the perfect one, all right. But the Most High didn't make the relationship between a man and a woman complex like a human brain. He didn't make it complex like the cells, all right, like the cells or your nervous system. He didn't make it complex, all right. That's why you have arranged marriages, because if you're a man and she's a woman, then this shouldn't be a problem. But the two main reasons, well, one of the reasons that we've lost our value in Babylon, ultimately it goes back to the curses. First and foremost, Jeremiah chapter 31, I believe. It says that a woman shall compass a man. So a woman is going to basically not need us, and she's going to surpass us in value, all right, or status per se, and stature in this society, all right, when realistically everything that we produce in a society as men, it's essential, it's needed. Whereas most women, their job is, it's not really essential. But the point is, all right, the man's value has been lost domestically, at least, is because, hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. The man has been devalued because his main role has been replaced by the dominant power structure, all right, by the privileges of a first world country, which is to what? Provide and protect, right? And that's what I want to open up this live stream with. A man is supposed to traditionally what? Provide and protect. And with that came honor. So that's where you get the man might get the first meal in the house, or he'll get served first, or he'll get the big piece of chicken, all right, per se. It's because the household knows that he's the reason why the household is sustaining itself. He's the reason why there's food on the table in the first place. And what that begot honor. Okay, so if a man can provide and he's the reason why everybody in the house is eating, and a woman knows that the man can protect him, with that comes a natural honor. All right, but now men have built this first world society. All right, a woman doesn't need an individual man, all right, to provide or protect her, all right, because she could get those same provisions and privileges through the system built by men. Okay. So that goes to show you in the book of Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1, when it says 7 women shall cleave to one man, that goes to show you that those privileges of a first world society is going to be no more, all right? It's going to be obsolete. That means that this system can no longer provide for a woman, all right, or protect a woman. And when I say provide, because currently what can she do? She could go and get a degree or a skill, right, and provide for herself, or she could go in through the welfare system, okay? And as far as protection, she could call the police. So those two things itself, it cancels out the most important roles of a man. Therefore, the value of a man has been devalued per se, okay? But we live in an artificial simulation, all right? That's totally out of tune with the planet Earth. See, there's an order and there's a way that the planet Earth is supposed to be ran. And there's an order and there's a way which makes up a system, all right, in which you run your race, all right? So when you have the privileges of a first world society built by men, it takes away the reality of the real importance of a man. So now men is looked at as financial entities, all right, sexual options, Now we're in this first world society, and women considered as basically royalty or queens. All right, they could look at men like flavors. All right, and you find out that in certain European structures, or even in Egypt, all right, the women who were in the royal positions, a lot of them had they slept with the guardsmen, they slept with the men in a circle, man. All right, that's what women who were of the heathen nations did. You know, our women couldn't do that, but that's what women of heathen nations did. But currently, that's what our women do. So they have a little miniature royal status because of what they have access to as far as provisions. So they look at men as more like tools to get their thing off, or you know, the flavor of the month, or whatever it may be. So validation, all right. But that's only because that we're living in the privileges of a first world society. All right. Also, if you take this dominant power structure away, if you take, you know, you take everything that Esau's kingdom can provide for you, take this out the way, and we start back from scratch just with the planet Earth, all right, you're going to see the value of a man, all right? Because a woman is not going to build a society, all right, from the earth on up. She can only exist in a society that was already built, all right, then elevate in that society, okay? But the Most High all right, created the earth to be utilized to sustain a nation of people, all right? So that's why you have resources under the earth, such as gold, silver, all right, different minerals, different valuable resources. All right, that's your bank account. That's your nation's bank account. All right, it's the resources under the land, all right, beneath the land, and also the food that grows on top of the land, and the cattle, all right, and the different herbs and spices that grow on the land. That's your earth's bank. That's your nation's bank account, man. And what happens is we utilize the earth's treasures, all right, to build and sustain and to enrich our nation, all right. For an example, you know, you take the trees, and what do you do with trees? You saw this in the book of Kings when King Solomon was building his kingdom, all right. They got the trees and turned the trees into wood, and turned the wood into what? Houses, all right. You create aqueducts and water sources to bring water to your people, all right. What else? You grow cattle. Then you occupy men of skill. You occupy potters, people who utilize the clay of the earth to make vessels to drink out of. Keep in mind, there is no paper plates and paper cups and, you know, napkins and all that. Everything has to be extracted from the earth. And this is when you see the true nature and the true value of a man. All right, not in a society that's already at its peak, all right, based on the existence of men, all right, but building a society from scratch to engineer an empire. And that's when you find out the value of men, because men are natural architects. They're natural engineers. There have been stories of men within our circle, our granddads and whatnot, all right, were practically illiterate in Esau's system, but they could build a house from scratch, okay? So like I said, the value of a man is shown when you have to build a nation from scratch. All right, when you have to utilize the earth, all right, to build a haven for your people. Like I said, you take over land, or you have land, so now you have to hire potters to utilize the earth's clay to make vessels. All right, but then you have to have what else? You have to have blacksmiths, all right, to forge tools, all right, to burn tools, to make tools, all right, for the potter. All right, but then you have to hire farmers on the land, all right, to grow crops on the land to sustain the people on that land. All right, that's why it says in Sirach 38, without these shall not a nation be established. And these are what you call real essential workers, man. But there have actually been quotes from women that was like, farming is played out, we could simply go to Kroger's. But god damn it, where did you get the food from Kroger's at? A farmer. The Kroger's, they're in contract with farmers, and they get their food from farmers. But that's what happens when you're born and raised in a first world society. You think food comes out of nowhere. You think a pelican carries food to the store in the middle of the night, all right? But in most of these occupations that I named, every last one of them, they're mainly utilized by men, all right? And this is when you see the true value of a man, when you have to build your nation from scratch, all right? Also, when you engineer your nation, all right, and you engineer and you hire your engineers and your architects and your farmers, all right, your blacksmiths, all right, your potters, all right, but then you have to protect that nation. So now you have soldiers, you hire soldiers, all right. At this point, everything that I'm naming are primarily fields dominated by who? Men. And going back to the engineers and architects, all right, you're gonna find out that the male's brain, the testosterone, all right, is responsible for spatial activity, and the spatial activity is responsible for giving him that visual aptitude, so to speak, to envision, all right, structures, buildings. Okay, see. But now we're at the peak of an empire that was engineered by men, and women all of a sudden think they don't need men. But when the collapse of this first world, when this country goes from a first world structure to a third or fourth world structure, however you want to call it, all right, then you're going to see the importance of men again, because the first world society is no longer going to provide what? Food and protection. So she's going to need individual men to do that for her. It never fails. But once again, going back to the main point, Sirach 38, it goes into the farmer, the potter, all right, the blacksmith, all right. But going back to Isaiah the 3rd chapter, it goes into the mighty men, the orator, all right. There are certain key things which make up the pillar of a nation. Now, ultimately, you have the elders, the men at the gate, who reinforce the laws, statutes, and commandments within a nation, all right. And those would be the elites of our nation, probably the aristocrats. But the bottom tier and the middle tier, the craftsmen and skills labormen, are them mainly run by men. I was talking to a retired power line worker, all right, today, and he said, and he's responsible for putting lines in the grid to cause the power grid so people could turn the switch on in the house and they have electricity, all right. But that's a field dominated by men, and a lot of men, all right, have lost their lives. All right, shalom to the Akim and Akwathium who are tuning in. But a lot of men who have lost their lives in these essential fields, man. Essential worker fields. All right. So yeah, the man does have value, but the illusion of not needing a man comes from a privilege of a first world society that was built by men. And I think this is spiritual. I'm gonna show you, brothers and sisters, something. All right, I didn't write this. Somebody has the word Noah on this stone. It has someone else named Cole or something, but right here it has someone's name, Noah. And that's the time we're in, man. And the elect are spiritual Noah, man. And like the elect's family, the 1/3, or the rest of the extension of the elects, so to speak, that represents the family of Noah, man. And this truth is the ark, all right? But instead of us being in the actual ark, all right, we're going to ascend into the arks, ascend into those chariots, man. Abba willing is us, okay? But the true value of men is going to happen at the downfall of the society, when the society is demoted, so to speak, from a first world status to a third world status. So when it's how Venezuela was, all right, when this society becomes like Venezuela, then you're gonna see the society of the value of men, okay? But we gotta be patient, all right? We're not gonna lose our integrity. We're not gonna lose our sight on things, all right? Because this truth is all about your integrity. But I wanted to, expound on some things in this live stream. Another thing that was on my spirit, man. Esau has a fucking veil in front of our faces, all right? He got everybody gravitating towards that jab, and I'm quite sure what that jab is what you inject in your arm because of a world pandemic, right? But what about the herbs and the roots that build up your immune system to fight viruses? What does it say? What did our forefather King Solomon say in Wisdom of Solomon, the 7th chapter? All right, the diversities of plants and the virtues of roots. But part of that veil that we have in Esau's matrix, all right, is that doesn't exist. And there's a formula to ignorance. Not knowing about something creates the illusion that it doesn't exist. So when you get a headache or a fever or a stomach pain or whatever it may be, all right, if your frame of reference of medicine is something that was in a laboratory, that creates the illusion that what comes from the earth doesn't virtually exist. But the irony is, what came from a laboratory imitates what came from the earth, or its active ingredient came from the earth. All right? So why not just go straight to the earth? Because there's no profit in going in your backyard or going to a farmer's market. All right, that doesn't help the Food and Drug Administration. That doesn't help the pharmaceutical industry. All right? But like our forefather Wisdom of Solomon said, all right, the virtues of roots. And it's literally the power of roots, such as golden seal roots, all right, echinacea, American ginseng, all right. Those roots are medicines, man. All right, so-called Mother Earth within her soil is a medicine cabinet, man. The earth is like a medicine cabinet, all right. And that's sad to lose your job in the matrix and you go starving. You starve to death. The earth is a refrigerator. The earth is plenteous, all right. But in this first world society, most of us don't know how to utilize the earth to survive because we 100% depend on Esau's grid. All right. But the point is, all right, when it comes to the restoring your health, all right, what about adaptogens? You know, herbs or roots that are called adaptogens because they build up your immune system and they help you adapt to environments. Those tonics that build up your immune system. All right. They boost your testosterone, increase blood circulation. Yep. Yashima tribe of Judah, Wisdom of Solomon 7:20. The natures of living creatures and the furies of wild beasts, the balance of wind, the reasonings of men, the diversities of plants, and the virtues of roots. The water for that. All right. The virtues are the power. All right. Another false narrative that we live in Esau society is that the old way was ineffective. The old way of healing yourself was ancient and it was primitive. But the contrary is true. Oh, the contrary. The old way was effective. Just how we talked about the roles between a man and a woman and the new age women, they all think that no man qualifies to talk to her because the new way doesn't work, but the old way worked. That's why it says in Jeremiah 6, turn you to the old paths. All right? But part of the old way is using the earth for your survival, man. Now, that's not to say if we get in a car accident, we don't want to go to the hospital. No, take your butt to the hospital. You blood gushing everywhere, take your butt to the hospital. It's an emergency. Be not righteous over much. All right? But when it comes to the general self-sustaining yourself, no, the Most High gave us the planet Earth. And the reason why a lot of us don't know that, because another false narrative that we learned in school was that the earth is here by way of an explosion and everything just happens to be here by way of evolution. But the contrary, all right? Actually is the Most High credit this earth, all right, to be utilized ultimately by the nation of Israel. And even the heathen that he allotted their lands to, he gave them portions of the earth to utilize the herbs and grow food to sustain their nation. That's the providence of Yahweh Bashim Hawashai. All right, the providence. Look up that word, providence, man. Providence, man. That's why he's called our heavenly Father. This earth is meant to be inhabited by men. Everything in your body is of the earth. So anything your body is missing is called a dis-ease or imbalance because you're missing minerals from the earth that has to replenish your body. All right, and we learned that. I learned that personally from the apostles of Great Millstone. A dis-ease. Elder Tazadakba is an expert in that field. All right. But the point is, man, this little matrix, Esau's kingdom, it blinds you from the not only the earth, but the value of men. Because the privileges of the first world society became a surrogate husband to the woman. And our nation of women fell for it, man. But this society is about to decline, and now you're about to lose those little goods that kept you at ease, pursuant to Isaiah 32:8. Arise, ye women that are at ease. All right, and it'll behoove you to have a good man. All right, because if not, you're probably gonna be out here selling pussy for survival, and that's just facts. All right, so pray to Yahweh Shema Shai, he leads you in the right direction. But going back to the earth, the Most High gave us the earth, all right, for our sustenance. He gave us the earth for our sustenance. All right? The fruit, the vegetables, the lawful animals. All right. Another poison that Esau did is processed food. He turned food into a fucking drug by extracting the nutrients from it and leaving the concentrated sugars there. Now your brain is addicted to the concentrated sugars, all right, with no nutrients. That's why you have shows like My 600-Pound whatever, and it's a 600-pound person inside of a trailer home that has to get a forklift to pull them out that trailer home to go to the doctor, because they're no different from that rat that keeps going back to that MSG cube or that high fructose corn syrup cube, man. Google that. The rats in MSG, and the rats are fat, all right, and they keep going back to the MSG because those concentrated sugars and those additives, it over spikes your dopamine. So now food has become a drug, man, and that's what it did to humans. If it's not far-fetched to see that this rat keeps going back to the sugar cube excessively, why is it not far-fetched to see that people packed in a McDonald's line every day? All right, for one, it's convenient. But secondly, you're addicted because your body can't utilize that. Your body can't utilize any of those things that you're eating. That's why people get all bad built now. Our people are all bad built, out of shape. And even us men of the Lord, man, you go a couple weeks without working out, or you deviate from a decent way of eating. Now you starting to feel down and drained, and you picking up weight. Because this society sucks, man. Yeah, here you are. Yeah, you got followers on social media, or you guys got some type of clout by way of whatever platform you got, but you're literally dying in this society. You literally are accumulating the disease as you live in this society. All right? And furthermore, you live in a society that's morally against Yahweh Bashim Hawashai. So that's pretty much the point, man. I was focused and I was meditating on how we're blinded, all right, by the planet Earth and the purpose of the planet Earth, and how we can utilize the planet Earth, because the Most High, this is the house for men. This is the Most High's habitation for men, and essentially the 12 tribes of Israel, man. Because we're biologically, we're the top of the food chain, or the people chain on the planet Earth. We are the lions, all right, of amongst the other nations, man. During the time of Adam and when we were called the sons of God, we were like the lions, and you saw Lion King. That was us. That was us when we were classified as the sons of God. All right, and the other nations was like the hippopotamus and the zebras and the hyenas. All right, but that's pretty much the point. I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. The water for bringing out those precepts. The water for tuning in. I'm just at the park, man, at the reservoir. But yeah, with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushua, Bahasham, Kakudash. I also want to give double honors to our apostles, the great millstone, Ruel. Peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. Abba, come Yashalom, Shalom.